You've probably heard me say it before. The best thing most folks can do to improve their video is to improve their video's audio. In this video, we'll look at an economical way to do just that. Using an external microphone is a great way to improve your video's audio. Unfortunately, there are lots of choices out there and some great choices that aren't so great when used in the wrong setting. For those of you who are a bit new to this whole thing, stick around to the end of this video and I'll give you a brief tutorial on when to use what type of microphone to achieve your particular goal. Before we get started, if you find this video helpful, please click on the thumbs up button below this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the Gadget Talk channel, please do so. Click on the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. In this case, we're going to look at the Comica V30 Pro shotgun mic with a 3.5mm plug designed to connect to any DSLR or Handycam style video camera with a 3.5mm input. This mic can also be used with a smartphone, but you'll need a handle with a cold shoe adapter and a TRS to TRRS adapter cable. Shotgun mics are used best in two situations. First is when you're in a setting where getting a sense of the sound in that space is important. That might be a ball game or other outdoor activity. A shotgun mic like this V30 Pro with its super cardioid pickup pattern will emphasize the sounds in front of the mic and suppress sounds to the sides and rear. A cardioid pattern has a heart shape with the lobes of the heart at the mic. The mic's manual has a pretty good diagram depicting this. The second situation where shotgun mics are very useful is for video blogging or vlogging. With a wide-angle lens and this mic on your camera held at arm's length or on a short selfie stick, you can get great dialogue without worrying about getting hung up in wires that a lav mic will have. However, as I'll discuss at the end of the video, if you and your camera will be more than 2 to 3 feet apart when filming, a wireless lav mic will likely be your better choice. Check out my Gadget Talk channel where I review a couple of Comica wireless lav mics that I really like. The V30 Pro mic is a fairly new addition in the inexpensive shotgun mic category. Its Amazon product page shows it's been on Amazon since only December of 2018. I've compared some of the published specifications to some of the other popular inexpensive shotgun mics and found them to be a bit better in a couple of categories. Compared to one of the favorite shotgun mics, which has been around since 2012, that I also own, the published sensitivity is a couple of decibels better on both the high and low end. Another big difference is the published battery life. Comica claims that this mic will provide 200 hours of battery life from 2 AAA batteries that you provide yourself. That's considerably better than my older battery-powered shotgun mic, likely because of newer low-power components. Let's take a look at what you get and then go outside and do some testing under a couple of different cameras and a couple of different settings to give you a sense of what to expect from the V30 Pro. Okay, so we've got the Comica V30 Pro out of the box, and let's take a look at what you get. First, it's the microphone itself. It's got a pretty good size to it, but it's plastic and it's fairly lightweight. You can see the spring here moves pretty easily, which means I should be getting some good sound dampening from when touching the camera and doing that kind of thing. It comes mounted with a foam wind cover that just simply slides off to expose the main microphone itself right here, and then just slides back on. And I found that these foam covers work pretty well in kind of light to medium breezes to keep the wind noise off the microphone capsule itself. Now you'll also see then here on the back are the controls, and on those switches you can see an off, a +10, and an on right here. So if you move the switch one click over to +dB, it'll give you a +dB volume increase. And then over here to the far side, it will give you just the normal setting that the mic is made for. Let me turn that on, and so you can see one click, the light comes on showing that it's green, that's +dB, and another click, it is now over at just the normal setting. And then the upper switch will give you either just normal or a high band pass, depending on which side of the little diagram you click it on. Right now, I've got this set on normal, which is the straight line. The angled line shows that if it was over in that position, it would cut out some of the low frequency sounds that you might find, especially if you were outside, maybe a computer hum if you were inside, those kind of things, so that you'd be able to limit that low frequency sound coming into the mic electronically through the circuits. The battery hatch is right here. It pushes out and back, and it covers two AAA batteries that you have to supply yourself. And then you've got the cord here, and it's connected to the mic itself, and it's got a tip ring sleeve type of connector that would go into most cameras. Most DSLRs and Handycams are going to take the TRS. Smartphones are going to take a TRRS. So if that's what you've got and you're planning to use this on some kind of a mount or a cage, you'll need to get a TRS to TRRS converter cable to use this with a smartphone. So the other thing that comes in the box here is this dead cat, and that's really handy for those times where you're going to be out in the wind. You know, these little fuzzy little soft hairs do a lot to slow the volume or the velocity of the wind, so that if it doesn't hit the microphone itself, giving you that terrible wind noise that you often find when you're recording video on a windy day. Now this is pretty handy. It comes with an opening, it's labeled. It's kind of an alligator jaw opening about a third of the way down. And so when I do that, I use it without the foam, because with the foam it really is a pretty tight squeeze. Give it a try if you'd like, but it ought to fit in there, but it was more than I wanted to deal with right here. And so it's just a matter of pushing this in past the opening, feeling for the microphone at the other end of the dead cat, and then working with your fingers to get the other end of this opening over the back of the microphone, so that you can get it all mounted on there. I'm sure that after a couple of ons and offs, it'll stretch a little bit and it'll make this easier to apply. And then the last thing that comes with the CVM V30 Pro is the instruction manual, or the user's manual. There's really not a lot to it, but it explains the switches, the +10 dB, the high pass filter, mounting the dead cat, and all of that is explained pretty well. So for a simple mic, the instructions are more than adequate to get you started. In this recording, I'm just a few inches behind the microphone, so you can get a sense of the sensitivity in that rear lobe of this supercardioid microphone. I have the microphone on. I am not in the +10 dB, since this is going to be a noisy airplane, as you've heard already, and I don't have the low pass filter engaged, so it's just recording straight. So in the back of the microphone, the top switch is to the left and the bottom switch is fully to the right. In this recording, I'm using my Sony AX53 Handycam. Okay, so on this audio sample, I'm using my Nikon D5300 with a 35mm prime lens. I've got it just about 18 to 24 inches from my face, the microphone that is. I've got the microphone set just to the regular settings without the low bandpass filter. Here I have a bird behind me and making a lot of noise, so we'll get a chance to see if that comes through. He's not helping the video capture here at this point, that's for certain. But in any case, at this point, I'm about the distance you'd be if you had a selfie stick or a Gorilla Pod, one of those little tripods, and we're using this to do some video blogging. So this is what the microphone's going to sound like at that 18 to 24 inches. So let me step back a little bit here in my backyard and get a chance to see how it sounds as I move away. Okay, so here I'm about 8 to 10 feet away from the camera. The microphone is mounted on the cold shoe on the Nikon D5300, and as you can just see, kind of my compact backyard here, get a chance to hear what the microphone sounds like. I've got a bit of a breeze, probably 2 or 3 miles an hour is all, and so I'm using the foam wind cover on the microphone at this point. And now I'm going to step a little bit further away and give you a chance to hear what it sounds like at a further distance. Okay, so at this point I'm probably 20-25 feet away, and as is typical with most shotgun microphones, I'm assuming you're going to be getting a bit more of the ambient sound that's hitting the microphone, and the fact that my voice has got to travel quite a bit further to get to the microphone. And so when you start to get to this distance, this is going to be the time, if this is the kind of shooting that you do, that you're probably going to go with a wireless lav mic. And if you look at my Gadget Talk channel, you'll see that I've done a couple of reviews for some pretty good wireless lav mics. So if you're shooting at this kind of distance, you can hear what you're going to get from a shotgun mic if dialogue is the important part of your video. One of the things I was a little concerned about when first working with the Comica V30 Pro was its plastic case and light weight. My first impression was a bit doubtful. However, after working with the mic, I've changed my mind. I really was pleased with how the mic didn't seem to change the balance of my camera. Using my Sony AX53 Handycam during the model airplane clips, it was like the mic wasn't even there. I was able to adjust my grip to easily access the camera zoom button, and beyond that, I hardly noticed the mic at all. Again, with my Nikon D5300, the mic's lightweight seemed to make no difference to the camera's feel. I often use a 300mm zoom lens, so when I replace that with a much smaller 35mm prime lens, even with the mic attached, the overall weight of the DSLR was much less than I'm used to with shooting stills with my long lens. I also like the streamlined appearance of the V30 Pro, and the mounting system did a good job of limiting noise from the camera. In one of the clips, you may have noticed that the autofocus moved a bit. Using onboard mics, the autofocus motor noise is usually captured on the video. Not so with the V30, which is a good thing. There are a couple of things you need to develop habits around when using this or any other external mic. I found that the auto sensitivity settings on several of my cameras results in audio that is too loud and often clipped. With that in mind, I usually set the camera's mic setting to manual and use the signal strength icons to adjust the sensitivity. That will require a couple of extra minutes of setup time. It's much easier to boost low volume in post-production than to lower the volume that's too high. Audio information that is clipped is lost, so there is nothing your editing software can adjust. The other habit you'll need to get into is making sure the mic is turned on and off. If the mic is off, you'll get no audio, which will really ruin your shot. All in all, I was quite pleased with the Comica V30 Pro shotgun mic. It does a good job of capturing a variety of sounds. Dialogue has a certain warm quality to it that was pleasing to the ear. My only con is that at this price point, the mic doesn't come with any kind of protective case. You'll need to be careful with it or get a generic case and remove the foam to fit the V30 in. Bottom line, for most beginner or enthusiast level videographers or YouTube content creators, the V30 is a good choice. Now you may recall I mentioned that I'd give you a brief tutorial on what external mics to use under what circumstances. Stay with me for just a few minutes more if some of this is new to you and you want to better your understanding of basic mic selection before adding to your audio kit. So now let's do a quick microphone selection overview for those of you who are a bit new to some of this. As mentioned earlier, using an external microphone is one of the easiest ways to improve the quality of your video's audio. The type you choose depends a lot on what kinds of video you shoot. Let's take a quick look at your primary options. First is a wired microphone connected to your smartphone or camera. The big decision here is how long a wire you want to get. There are mics out there that have wires from about 3 feet up to 20 feet. Regardless of the length, the wired option limits how far you can get from the camera, however. That may or may not be a big deal, depending on what you plan to shoot. The second choice is using what's often called a mini shotgun mic. These mics plug into the smartphone or camera's 3.5mm socket. Shotgun mics work pretty well for dialogue if the speaker is less than about 2 to 3 feet from the microphone. They also work well when capturing the ambient noise of the setting, such as crowd noise at an athletic event. However, when spoken dialogue is desired at a distance beyond 3 feet, the ambient sounds the mic picks up can make the dialogue sound distant or muddy. Your third choice is using a wireless microphone that gives you the advantage of a wired mic located near your mouth to capture clear dialogue while being able to move around without being limited by a cord. With these mics, the cord is a radio signal, not a hard wire. The downside to many wireless microphones is cost. Good ones can easily cost more than $400. My experience with the Comica mics is that they are a quality product offered at a very reasonable price. With the CVM-WS60, having 2 mics connected to the same receiver allows you to do interviews or have discussions with a partner without having a bunch of extra equipment to move around. If you've decided that 2 channels might be overkill for your application, the CVM-WS50 wireless mic that I've also reviewed on this channel would be a good choice. Thanks for watching.